everybody and welcome back to another Stardew Valley modding related video. Today I am live to you guys from the outside, the outdoors, because I've got some really fun farm related mods to share with you guys this week. I know it's winter, we can just ignore it. It's not the best, but it is what it is. But before we get into the video, if you aren't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It's free and it gets you notified for all of my next uploads. Future things are involving a lot more modding content on the channel, maybe even some like fun Stardew challenges that I may or may not be working on, you know? And also I'm doing a really fun casual playthrough of Animal Crossing at the moment. I'm making a very cool island and it's a ton of fun. Anyway, as I said, I've got a big old list of some farm related mods that you can install into your game that can either update the base farms or can just completely overhaul your farm for a brand new vibe, brand new look and more. Before I get into it, as always, quick disclaimer, all of these mods are downloadable through Nexus mods, and of course you will need to have some prior mods installed like Smappy and a content patcher, but all of that information is on the Nexus page when you go to install it. But as always, all of the links for each of these mods will be in the description below for your viewing pleasure. For this one, I only have two different categories to go through. So we've got our updates to the base game farms, you know, small updates like our standard farms or forest farms, all that sort of stuff that just doesn't completely overhaul it, but gives you a different kind of look. And then our second category is our bigger one. We've got a lot to go through in this last one, and that is our new farm layouts. So these are brand new farms that you can't get in Stardew. You'll have to download these mods to get them. I think they look super neat and super cool. I am dying to get back into Stardew and have some time to play this game so that I can install some of these farm mods so that I can have a cute as heck game. But with that being said, let's just get straight into it. Let's start off with our updates to base farms, and we're going to start off with the better standard farm. So this is just a simple one. This is a redesign of the standard farm with more grass, fishing pond, and a brand new farm cave. The features include a new cave map with a swimming pool, a one-way warp to beach, a one-way warp to the mountain area, teleport point, and a mysterious bottle. This is a really cool looking one. I really like how this looks. It just, yeah, overhauls the standard farm. I like the different areas and the fencing and everything in it. I love how the farm cave looks as well. I love just like having a little bit of a spa in a sense down there, and I love that it's got that. Overall, I think this is just like one of the best standard farm map mods that you can get just to like completely update it in a sense. I think it makes it look so cool and definitely one to check out. Coming in next, we have the mini farm replacements mod. This one just goes ahead and replaces all of the vanilla farm maps into these cute little miniature versions. It essentially makes it half the size, and then each one can be individually enabled or disabled in the configuration file as well. There are a couple of notes in the Nexus mods folder just in regards to some of the farms, but overall I like it. I think it just brings it in. It makes it a little bit of a smaller experience. It does give you less space, but in that being said, I do think it kind of makes it a little bit more of a challenge. And I love that it doesn't like super change it. It does still keep the same vibe of the original map, but just kind of shrinks it a little bit. A super fun one if you're up for a little bit of a challenge of some less space. Coming in next, we have another standard farm remap. This is the biggest standard farm by Redux. Essentially, this one does the opposite to what the last one does, and it gives you a bigger farm. It twices the size of the farm for more machines and crops. Additionally, the entire site is fully functional. The original ponds are removed and a new one was placed in behind the house. You can add 4 rice ponds to the left side of the farm, and this is all optional. Additionally, you can add a teleport from the statue near the pet bowl to the other end of the farm, another optional feature, and you've got all this space for some extra decoration. Honestly, if you're like me and run out of materials super quickly and you're like literally going everywhere else on the island to cut down wood and stuff, this is a super good one. There's definitely so much space, especially if you're a big like farmer and you love having all those crops and stuff. I do think that there's heaps of space here and heaps of potential for a really large farm. Coming in next, we have the little standard farm. Lots of standard farm reworks today. This is similar to the mini one. It is another small, adorable, and compact standard farm. Again, perfect for a challenge or just to take it a little bit easy. A couple of the buildings have been relocated to maximize the use of the space, and the ponds were additionally removed and a new one was placed behind the house just so that you've got a pond, but it doesn't take up space. You can also, like the last one, add in some rice ponds as well. I love how this one looks. I like the little pond behind the house because it gives you all this extra space, and even then I still feel like you could really like make a decent farm area within this space. The greenhouse has been moved just behind the house as well so that you have all the optimal designing space. I think this is a really cool mod. Next up, to go with the same creator, we have the little forest farm. Just like the last one, this is a smaller farm in the forest, but it is also well cleared and with all the benefits of this type of farm. Several of the unusable spaces on the vanilla version are now available for use. Of course, the buildings were relocated to maximize the use of space, and again the ponds were removed, but a pond was added behind the house for irrigation. You can also add an optional configuration modification to add a bridge to the pond to allow crossing it and not having to go around it. And then plants will also grow all over the farm. I think it's a cool one if you sort of really like still having that center pond in the middle, or again, you can optionally not have a pond there, but I also like the feature that you can have a bridge over it instead of having to go around. You can just go straight across. This is another really cool one, especially if you're wanting a little bit more of a challenge of a smaller space, but you really still want to play one of the vanilla maps. Coming in next, we have the Scoot Custom Four Corners Farm and Tweaks mod. So essentially what this one does is added a shortcut that exists to east and southwest parts of the Four Corner maps. One leads to the forest right next to the woods and the other to town. The farm cave has been moved to behind the house, and the farm cave now has 3 warp spots. They lead to the railroad, the island north, and the sewer. The northeast corner of the Four Corners map has been changed to allow you to use the fence off space as well. This is another really cool, simple, basic one that just changes a little bit of the overhaul of the Four Corners one, so you've still got all that space, but it does make it a little bit easier to navigate and a little bit easier to decorate and design on your own. I think this is a really cool, just like minor one that does those little bit of changes, and I like how they look. Next up, we have the new standard farm mod. So this is just a standard farm remade to be the size of the beach farm. It has custom forage and fish spawn, and it also has a teleport system. It's a super cool one. It does give you that little bit of extra space at the bottom there. I love how it looks. I love how the greenhouse is moved and everything, and you just got that extra bit of space as well. Another cool one if you're just wanting a bit of extra space but not a super large area. And lastly, for our updates to base game farms mods, we've got the Pikachu's Improved Forest Farm. This is a really cute one that's just got some quality of life changes, and there are 2 versions. You can have fences or no fences. So with the fences, there are a lot of things to clear when you start playing, and the fences can help plan your farm out, but with no fences, you just get a little bit of extra starting debris, and it takes out some of the special bushes and plants, making the map more open for your own decisions. So I probably recommend going the fences route if you're just starting out and not really sure how to decorate, and then the no fences if you're a pro and you know exactly what you're doing. A nice little change to the forest farm. Now we are onto the big one. We've got a lot to go through here, so strap on in. I will say as well, we're going to cover a lot from a couple of different creators, so you'll hear a lot of repeats of names and everything, and these creators are absolutely insane. There was only so many I could put in this video. There is still definitely more coming. A farm mods part 2, anyone? But let's start off with Lynn's new island farm mod. So this is essentially like the beach farm. There's a cute little heart sort of pond at the front, a lot of forageable space, but also kind of brings a little bit of the Ginger Island vibes, I'm not gonna lie. It's a super cool one that's got a bit of greenery as well as some of those beach fronts, and I just think it's an overall really cool map. Definitely a must-have. Next up, we have from the same creator, the Lynn Sky Farm mod. This is giving me so much Skyblock nostalgia from Minecraft. This is essentially just a farm map with all of these super cute clouds and like the top of trees, because your farm is in the sky. I love how this one looks. I love the different levels and the bridges and everything. It does only have some like smaller pond areas, so you're definitely going to need to be getting some wells in here for this particular mod, but I adore how this one looks. I think like this is definitely in my top 10, and I'm only saying 10 because there's so many mods and I want them all. I love how this one looks, and I'd love to get this one in for a gameplay one day. Coming in next, we have one we discussed on the last modding video, Pink Station's Heart Farm map mod. This is just a super cute mod in general. This is an open layout farm that is shaped like a heart with some wings. There is 2 easy access spots for watering plants, 2 waterfalls, and a pond for fishing, and a quarry, hardwood stump spawn locations, and all that stuff. There is also a 50% chance for catching mountain fish and forageable spawns. This is such a cute one. Even without like mods, it still looks super nice. I love the layout for this, and I think this one is just like, it gives you so much extra space as well in general, but just another super cute one if you've got this sort of like kind of aesthetic, like cutesy, I guess, aesthetic, fairy core aesthetic, you know? I definitely think it blends in very nicely with some particular vibes. Coming in next, we've got a very interesting and challenging one. We have the Covered Farm mod. This is essentially a very large farm map with 5 sections of farmland gated behind tool upgrades. This map contains over 1,000 farmable tiles, large area to keep animals in the top left. There are large ponds for fishing and crab pots, and all paths are marked either with pink and blue flowers or small bushes. This is a really cool one if you want a little bit of a challenge where like you've got different designated areas instead of just like an open layout. A very interesting kind of mod. Coming in next, we have the Water Farm mod. This one replaces the standard farm. Part of the farm is connected by stone paths in the shallow water, and in the deep water there are lotus paths connecting several paths. Additionally, a boat connects the house to Marnie's ranch in the forest, and also several buildings is always relocated to different small islands, and beautiful decorations were added. This island generates extra resources every day, and it is a much larger map than your original standard map, which is really cool. I love how this one looks. I love love the different sort of like squared areas. It's not like super intense or over the top, but I do really like how this one turned out and how it looks on the island. I love the different sort of areas and farming areas that you can map out. And overall, I think it's a really cool and more challenging one. I mean, like if you're like me and love fishing, like this is the mod for you. Next up on the list, we have the Zenith Farm mod. This is a farm map high atop the mountains with a beautiful view of the valley below. Some of the features include, as normal, tillable grass, forageable spawns, berry bushes, and renewable hardwood stumps. You get this really cool panoramic background changes with the time, season, and weather. Additionally, you get some optional decorations and then optional Minecrafts to quickly warp around the farm. And then there is a warp totem along the bus stop path to warp straight up to your house. I love how this one looks. I think it is super neat. I love the different like levels and stuff to it and the different areas and ways that you can decorate this island. And I love the idea of a sort of like mountain high farm. Coming in next, we have the Moonbeam Farm mod. This is a foresty farm with a moon and a cloud-shaped lake. I love how this looks. I don't know, it's just a little moon in the corner. I didn't really realize that some of these maps could do those sorts of shapes. I know that sounds strange, but I just love the different shapes and textures that it's got to this one. I love the different areas. This is more a super decorating one, I feel. I think there is so much potential with this particular map for some of our decorating besties. If anyone does decorating things on this map, please tag me somewhere, please. It's a super cool mod. Next up, we've got a familiar name. We're here with Pink Station's Riverland and Farm mod. This is a prettier and more organized Riverland farm map. There are cute hearts and a natural landscape over on this map. As always with Pink Station stuff, I adore it. I love the little like heart features that they have to all of their mods. I think they just make it look super unique, and I love how you can go around your island with this and the different ways that you can decorate. Additionally, I really like how they make these sort of like darker grass spot areas where it's like you can put stuff there and they kind of plan it for you in a sense. Really just adore how this one looks, and just a super recommended one. Again, it looks great in base game colors too. Coming up next, we have the Grass Farm mod. This is a small grassy farm map. The features include that you can dig in the grass on this one and you can forage all over the map. It is a really super neat, different kind of looking map. I love the simplicity of it, and definitely a good first timers mod if you're not looking for something to super overhaul everything. Up next, we have the Pink Station's Hilltop Farm map. This is another super cute one. It has got a heart-shaped quarry, waterfalls, and a natural landscape. Again, I love how they lay out the farms and the different ways to decorate around. I think it is super cool and super cute. I just love their sort of like idea for it. And obviously you don't have to follow the way that they've got it laid out, but it's there if you're sort of unsure. I just love the different layouts, even the bridges and everything on these. Definitely a super cool one. And also, like, if you don't want the particular layout, you can turn it off in the configuration so that you can like do whatever you want. You don't have these darker bits of grass and stuff. I just love Pink Station stuff. It's all so cute. Coming up next, we have the Starfish Beach Farm. This is a cozy little farm by the sea. Again, this one does not have a huge amount of space, but the sprinklers for this one do work on the sand, which makes it very handy. I love how this one looks. I love the trees and the water and the coconut trees and everything. There's lots of potential with this one, especially that we can get sprinklers on the sand. It's perfect. Next up, we've got Lynn's Expandable Farm mod. This is essentially a mod of this farm that can be expanded multiple times. It is also compatible with multiplayer. You can catch freshwater fish on all the maps. It has a small swimming pool as well. All of these maps can also be foraged, and you'll get your 2 hardwood stumps per day. You can grow crops and place the buildings and everywhere. It runs just like a normal farm, except you can, after getting 2 hearts with Robin, go and purchase expansions for the farm. I think it is super cool because you can have like this really cool large map, or you can just keep it as a smaller map. The amount that it expands is insane, especially from what it goes from in the beginning. And I think it's really cool if you want like maybe a little bit extra space and more space on that, and then you don't want to go any bigger, you don't have to. Very cool customizable mod. Next up, we've got Lynn's Super Farm. For all of you super intense farming besties, animal besties, and all that sort of stuff, this is the one for you. This is a super big farm map with different areas to decorate and customize, and just overall, just like a huge map. So if you are super big on all of the farming and stuff, you want to have so many animals and everything, Junimo hearts, slime hutches, everything, this is definitely the mod for you. I would super recommend this one. Next up, we've got the Marsh Meadows Farm mod. This is essentially a tall custom farm with cliffs, a large lake, and a dedicated forest section at the bottom. them. There is, of course, tillable grass and lots of berry bushes around. But this is just a super cool shaped mod as well. There's so many decoration spaces here. Again, if you're like me and run out of resources really quickly, this is the one for you. But I love just the shape of it. Just the like curves of the hills. It's not just straight and everything. I think it looks so cool. And I love the little like different lake spots. Definitely a little bit harder to decorate in that middle section, but can be used for different pathways instead of decorations. I adore this one. There's lots of opportunity and lots of potential, and I think it's a really cool mod. I think we're over the halfway mark for the new farm layouts. I'm sorry, there's lots to get through. But next up, we've got the 6 corners farm. That's right, you heard it here, 6 corners. This is a great mod if you're wanting to experience the game a lot better with all of your friends in one map. If you've ever played with 4 people and you've always felt like the 4 corners map is too small, then this is the one for you. It gives you an additional forage spawning in the backyard, snails visiting in the pasture. There is more chances for fishing, weeds regrowth areas, secret pathways, so much unlockable farming space, and just so many more cool features. I love how this one looks. I'm a big lover of the 4 corners farm because I love having the different space and different dedicated areas, but I get that sometimes it can just feel bland, and I love that we can have 6 different areas now to really spice it up. I love how this map looks. I think it looks super cool. Coming up next, we have Lynn's Lovely Farm mod. This is a very cute farm that has got this huge like dirt area, and then additionally a very cute small little beach area. And it comes down and you've got some little seats as well in front of this area. I just think it's so cool. It's a very like nice decorating one. There's plenty of space as well for farming and all of your animals and everything, but overall I think this is a really cool one. It gives you a bigger hot springs and mining spaces and everything, and I just think it looks super cool. Definitely a really just like nice pretty farm. Coming up next, a really fun one that I've already mentioned before. This is the tiniest farm mod. I'm obsessed with this one. This is a really cute like very mini farm mod. Very really tiny one. A nice really cool challenge as well, or if you're just sort of like into that tiny home and stuff aesthetic, then this is one to go with it. Coming up next, we have the cliffside farm mod. This is just a farm that is built into the cliffside. It has got so many different cliffs as well. It's a really large area, so there's definitely lots of, you know, space for decoration, but also this one's got a bit of a challenge because while there's so much space, they're like smaller spaces and a little bit harder to decorate. I love the possibilities and stuff that you can do with this one, and the challenge of kind of trying to make it work in these smaller areas. Again, if anyone has this mod and you've been decorating it, I would like to be tagged somewhere, please. A very interesting mod. Coming in next, we have the Riverbend Farm mod. It is a really cool one. It's just a hilly map with some ups and downs and a river. It's got this really awesome layout, couple of different mountains and stuff. Got more space on this one, but again, I just love the different shapes that this user provides with these maps. I love how this one looks. I love the different opportunities. I'm obsessed. Coming in next, we have the Puffin Beach Farm mod. This is a large map beach farm based on the Puffin Cove farm, which is a farm map by a different user. The original one was just too small for this person's playstyle, so they set out to make a larger version of the farm map based on it, and I think that this one looks really cool. It gives you so much decorating space as well as this cute little beachside area. You can put like the cabins and stuff on the beach, sheds and everything. I think it's really cool, and I love how it looks out, and I love all the different opportunities that you can do with this one. A huge recommendation. Again, if you're liking the sort of grass vibe, but you kind of want a little beach as well. Can't go wrong with a little beach. Up next, we have Hippo's Floral Foothill Farm. This is a really cool one that's got, again, some different hills, ponds and everything, and just some really cool decorating and like island layout opportunities. Lots of forageable stuff, lots of flowers and everything. I think it just looks really cool, and does also look like you can configure the different amounts of like trees and rocks and stumps and everything, which is really cool. The debris, that's the word. I love how it looks in all of the seasons, and definitely a really fun replacement of some of the maps. Up next, we've got Lynn's the Tidy Farm mod. If you're a little bit of a tidy queen, just like I am sometimes, and you like to have things organized and in their individual places, then this is one for you. This gives you several different areas and different spaces to keep everything nice and in check in their areas, doing their things. You can access everywhere through these little bridges and stuff on the island, and I just love how it looks because you know where everything is and you can see it all. It's nice and tidy and just super cool. Next up, we've got the Lynn's Island Farm mod. mod. This is another really cool one. This is like literally as it sounds, an island. You've got some beachy parts. You've got a little sunken ship as well, which I thought was cool. Kind of gives a little bit of like Ginger Island vibes as well on this one. Again, I think this would be a really cool challenge to see how people would decorate it. It does look like as well that you can actually use the ship, which I think is super cool. There's different warp spaces and things to get around, but I just love how it looks and the different kind of possibilities. I just want to like install all of these maps just to like see how I would go about decorating them. I don't know. They're just so cool. Up next, we've got the Impossible Farm mod. This is a mod that replaces the standard farm with the smallest farm you've ever seen. It brings you the least pleasant experience in Stardew Valley, not having enough room. This map forces you to cut out normal ways of living to make room for what is necessary. This is a cool one if you're up for a challenge, just like I've said with all of the tinier farm maps. It is very small. There's only a really tiny area that you're able to make crops and stuff, so you've got to make the best of what you've got. Up next, we've got the 4 Seasons Farm Improvement version mod. This is a farm that is consistently having 4 different seasons at once. This is just an update to the 4 Seasons Farm mod. This seems to be the latest update for this one. I love how it looks because you just have so many different opportunities. You can always be growing some different kind of crops and everything, but I just love how it looks. I love the different trees and resources and stuff that you can get through like all the different seasons. And I think it's a really interesting kind of gameplay change you can have. Coming up next, we have the Meadow Ranch farm. This one goes out to all of my cottagecore besties. This is just a simple meadow farm. It does seem that this one is most likely meant as a farm for lots of animals, but you can also plant tons of crops in it as well. All of the grass is tillable, and in the game this will replace your forest farm. I love how this looks. I think this would be super cool with a ton of animals, some other decorating bits, and of course crops and stuff. This one gives me super cottagecore vibes, especially with the bushes and the trees and the water and everything. This is the cottagecore farm map. Speaking of cottagecore stuff, coming up next, we've got the Cottage Dream Farm. This is a big decorated farm with lots of flowers, designated areas for crops and animals as well. This is a super cute one. I love the different flower decorations that you can get, even the like hay bale stuff. This is another big cottagecore one. It's just so big as well. This is kind of giving me like castle vibes, like big old flower garden castle vibes. I'm not gonna lie. Just big old cottagecore flowers and all of the good things. A really cute map mod. Almost at the end, coming in next, we've got the Hidden River Farm mod. This is a secret hidden farm that has been tucked away for so long. All it needs is a bit of tender love and care to flourish this one. It's built for someone who does not want a massive map, but wants something pretty simple and natural. There is hot springs and plenty of room for a few farm buildings and crops. I think this one is super cool. I love that it's got all of this water surrounding it. Again, I definitely think that there is so much potential with this kind of map and different things that you can do. I love how it looks. A good one again if you're a bit of a fisher like I am, and it's just cute. I love that there's so many like tree coverage because it's a little hidden farm, you know? I love it. And we're up to our final farm map mod. I have been dragging on for ages. My poor voice is dying on me, I feel. We've got the Hippo's Cliffside Falls farm mod. This is just another one by the user Hippo. It is super cool. I love the different layout for this. I love the designated spots, the trees and everything, the little flowers and bushes and just the minor decorations, and of course the huge space that you've got. I love how this one looks in all of the different seasons, and I definitely think there is so much potential here. Really dependent on what your like kind of decorating and like playthrough style is, but I think there's a little bit for everyone in this one. Well, that is it for our farm mods for Stardew today. As always, if you guys are enjoying the modding video, please feel free to go check out the brand new playlist that I made that has got a ton of other modding related content in there for you. As always, if you have any other mod related content you do want to see though, let me know in the comments below. And if you aren't already, click that subscribe button so you can be notified for my next upload and you can join our little crew over here. But on that note, I will catch all of you guys on the next one. Bye everybody!